Okay, I want you to try something for me. Picture this. You're walking into a room, could be a conference room right after a really heated meeting, or maybe a house you're thinking of buying that's been empty for just a little too long.
Right, you get that feeling.
You get that feeling, you cross the threshold, and before you see anything, before anyone says a word, you just get hit with it.
The vibe.
The vibe,
Yeah.
exactly. Sometimes it's great light, airy, you feel your shoulders drop.
Yeah.
But, we've all had the other one.
Oh, yeah.
That heavy, thick feeling, like the air is, I don't know, pressurized. Maybe you even feel like someone's watching you, even though the room is completely empty.
And we just shrug it off, right? We call it bad energy.
We do. We treat it like a metaphor or superstition. But today, we're looking at a source that says, stop treating it like a metaphor. What if that heaviness is, well, actual physical residue?
Okay.
We are diving deep into this fascinating text called Traces of the Soul, Cetasika and Cosmic Cleansing. And I have to admit, when I first saw that title, I was expecting ghost stories.
Campfires and flashlights.
Totally. And instead, I got something that felt closer to a physics textbook.
It really does, doesn't it? It's more like spiritual mechanics than folklore.
It is. It's a Buddhist framework, for sure, but it deconstructs that vibe feeling in a way that is just so technical. It's not asking you to believe in magic. It's asking you to understand a system.
Yeah, and the central premise here is it's going to be a challenge for a lot of us. It basically argues that human emotions aren't just these private events happening inside your skull.
Right. We think, I'm angry, but I'm keeping it to myself.
But this source says, no, you're not. An emotion is an energy event, and like any energy release heat, sound, light, it has to interact with the physical environment. It sticks to things.
That's the image that I couldn't shake.
Wow.
We aren't just feeling things, we're kind of painting the walls of every room we enter with our emotional state.
Precisely. And if you're painting with bad, paint anger, greed, jealousy, well, eventually you're going to ruin the house.
So the mission for this deep dive is to figure out how that actually works. We're going to look at the mechanics of this emotional soot, how it creates what we call hauntings.
And there's a huge twist there.
Oh, a huge twist. And then finally, the really practical part. A step-by-step technique the source gives to actually scrub a room clean.
So you move from being a victim of the atmosphere to being an active shaper of it.
I love that. Okay, so let's get into the machinery. The source starts with this term that seems to be the atomic unit of the whole theory.
Cetasika.
Cetasika, right. It's a Pali term. In Buddhist philosophy, consciousness isn't just one big blob. It has components. Cetasika are the mental factors that color your consciousness at any given moment.
So if consciousness is water, Cetasika is like the flavor you add to it.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Anger, greed, kindness, envy, those are all Cetasikas. They flavor the mind.
Okay, but here's where I got stuck at first, and I think a lot of people will too. Buddhism is all about anicca, right? Impermanence.
Everything arises and passes away. So if I get mad at traffic and then an hour later I'm home and I'm fine, the anger's gone. It passed away. So why would it leave a mark?
That is the paradox. And the source uses this really violent but very effective analogy to explain it. It asks you to imagine a bomb going off in an empty room.
Okay, boom.
Right. The explosion happens. 3 seconds later, is the explosion still happening? No. The event is over. The fire is out. Impermanent. But look at the walls.
They're scorched, covered in soot.
Exactly. The event is gone, but the trace remains. And that is the core argument. When we experience intense cetasika, especially negative ones like rage or deep grief, we are detonating these little energy bombs.
So I might feel better. I've cooled off, but I've left spiritual shrapnel all over the living room.
You've left spiritual soot. That's the term. It's on the furniture. It's on the walls. It creates this residue the source calls karma power. It's not active thought. It's just dirty energy hanging in the air.
And that's unnerving. Because if you zoom out from just me having a bad day, you've got 8 billion people having bad days.
And that's where the source goes from personal advice to something like a global warning. It connects our personal moods to the literal climate of the planet.
You mean like spiritual smog? We're wrapping the planet in a layer of emotional pollution.
Pretty much. And this brings us to one of the wildest concepts in the text. Utu Datu.
Utu Datu. I looked this up. It means the physical elements, right? The weather, geology, that sort of thing.
Correct. Now, we usually think of weather as something that just happens to us, but this framework suggests the opposite. It claims that this accumulated emotional soot, this massive pile of negative Cetasika,
Yeah.
actually distorts the Utudatu.
Wait, hold on. So it's saying our moods actually affect the weather. That sounds, I mean, to a modern ear, that sounds like a massive stretch.
It does sound like magic until you think of it as a closed system. I mean, physics tells us everything is energy. If we are pumping massive amounts of chaotic, hot, destructive energy into the system of Earth, the system has to process it somehow.
And so when the soot gets too thick,
The planet triggers a hygiene cycle.
a hygiene cycle. That sounds a lot nicer than what I'm guessing it is.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. The term is Cap Why Not. It means roughly destruction of the eon, an apocalypse. But it's not framed as a punishment, it's a cosmic reboot.
But reboot.
Floods, fires, earthquakes, they're the planet's way of washing off the grime.
So a hurricane isn't nature being cruel, it's nature putting the planet in the dishwasher because we let it get too crusty.
That's the idea. It's a heavy concept, but it really emphasizes our responsibility. We worry about our carbon footprint, and we should, but this source is asking, what's your emotional footprint?
That's a lot, I think.
Yeah.
I think I need to bring this back down to the room level before I start worrying about causing a tornado with my road rage.
Fair enough. Let's zoom back in.
Let's talk about hauntings. Because the source spends a lot of time on this, and it was probably the most clarifying part for me.
It really was, because haunting is such a vague, catch-all term.
Right, it could be anything.
But the source says, no, what we call a haunting usually falls into one of two completely different mechanical categories. And we get confused because we mix them up.
Okay, let's break them down. Type 1. This goes back to the soot, right?
Yes. Type 1 is the energy recording. Some people call it the stone tape theory.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
The idea that the walls can literally record an event.
Exactly. Imagine a room where something incredibly intense happened. A violent crime, maybe, or even just a home where a couple screamed at each other every single night for 20 years.
Okay.
That energy gets imprinted into the matter of the building. It's like recording a file onto a cassette tape.
So if I walk into that house 10 years later and I see a ghost, or I just feel this wave of crushing sadness, what am I actually interacting with?
A hologram, that is the key. That ghost has zero consciousness. It doesn't know you're there. It can't see you. It is just a loop of energy playing back.
That explains so many of those classic ghost stories. You know, the lady in white who walks down the same hallway at exactly 3 a.m., turns left, and vanishes.
Every night.
Right. She's not haunting you. She's not stuck. She's just a recording, a smudge on the film.
That makes it a lot less scary, actually. It's just old data.
It is. But then there's type 2.
The Opopetika.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to get this, we have to throw out a huge pop culture idea about the afterlife.
The idea of the wandering spirit, the ghost with unfinished business stuck in limbo.
Correct. The source is very firm on this.
Yeah.
There is no limbo. There is no waiting for the light. Rebirth is instant.
The instant, like the moment you die.
The microsecond you die, consciousness arises in a new form. There is no gap.
So, if someone dies in a house and stays there, they're not a ghost. No, they've been reborn. The term is opapatika, spontaneous birth. They might be reborn as a deity or a demon-like being called an asura or a hungry ghost. But, and here's the catch, because of their intense attachment to that place, they are reborn with coordinates that overlap with her physical world.
So they're roommates?
They're roommates on a different frequency. They occupy the same space. But unlike the tape recorder, these are conscious beings.
So they can see me?
They can see you. They can react. If you renovate the kitchen, they might get pretty annoyed. That feeling of being watched is, in this case, literal.
Okay, I take it back. That is way creepier than the tape recorder.
It can be. But it also changes how you approach it. You can't reason with a recording. You can potentially communicate with the conscious being.
Speaking of which, this leads to my favorite part of the text. This paradox.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been to, say, a holy place, an ancient temple, a cathedral, places that should have the best vibes ever.
Yeah.
But sometimes you walk in and instead of peace, you feel crushed, heavy. I've felt this. It feels oppressive.
The holy site paradox.
Yeah.
The source has this brilliant explanation. It says, these places are often inhabited by Bhumadeva earth deities or powerful guardian spirits. These beings have an incredibly high level of order, discipline, and moral weight.
So it's not bad energy.
No, it's high-frequency energy. Imagine standing next to a giant concert subwoofer. Even if the music is beautiful, the pressure is physical. It's overwhelming.
Ah, okay, so if I walk into that temple with my chaotic, scattered, monkey mind, worried about work, angry about something.
There's a vibrational mismatch. You feel oppressed not because the spirit is evil, but because their intense order is clashing with your internal chaos.
That completely changes the interpretation. It's not a get-out sign. It's a shape-up sign.
It's an invitation to elevate your own state to match the room.
Which is the perfect segue. We know of the soot, the recordings, the invisible roommates. Now the practical bit. How do we clean up?
Right. How do we scrub the walls? The source details this technique, sun in the heart. But before we get to it, there's a big safety question.
The one I was just thinking, is this safe? If I start projecting energy, am I going to attract attention? Am I poking the bear?
Yeah, will the spirits attack me? It's a common fear. The source uses a really beautiful analogy here. It asks, if you offer a cup of cold water to a thirsty person in a desert, will they slap it out of your hand?
No, they'd be grateful.
Even if that person is angry or a criminal, they're thirsty, they need the water. The argument is that projecting meta-loving kindness is a universal currency. Every being wants to feel good. You aren't fighting the darkness, you are feeding it light.
Okay, I like that. We're not Ghostbusters, we're water bearers.
Uh-huh.
So let's walk through it. The source has 4 clear steps.
And you can do this anywhere. On a bus, in a meeting, no one has to know. Step 1 is the core.
The core. Right.
You need a center. So you visualize a tiny seed of light at your solar plexus, the center of your chest. Don't try to light up your whole body, just focus on a single point, like the glowing tip of an incense stick.
Got it. Little dot of light in my chest. Step 2 is breath sync.
This is how you fuel it. On the inhale, you imagine you're pulling in goodness from the universe. Clean air, white light, whatever works. You're feeding that little seed.
So it gets brighter. And on the exhale...
On the exhale, you expand it. That light pushes out from the center, fills your body, and then expands past your skin. You're turning that little incense tip into a miniature sun.
So now I'm a glowing bubble of light. Step 3, cleansing and replacing. This is the active part.
This is it. You're not just passively shining. You have to visualize that white light physically displacing the soot in the room. You see it pushing against the black fog.
And the source is specific here. It's about using opposites, right?
Yes, exactly. You diagnose the room. If it feels heavy with anger, which often feels hot, you visualize your light bringing coolness. If it feels anxious or scary, you replace that darkness with confidence and clarity. You're literally power washing the walls with light.
Gentle power washing. I like that. Okay, and then step 4. This one surprised me, but the source says it's crucial for your own safety. Closing the current.
Yes. This is where so many empathetic people go wrong. They expand, they clean the room, and then they just stay open.
And they feel totally drained afterward.
Completely depleted. Because they're still bleeding energy. Step 4 is keeping the contract. Before you finish, you take one deep inhale and you visualize retracting all that light back into that small concentrated point in your chest.
So you leave the room clean, but you take your battery back.
Exactly. You pull your life force back home. You've cycled energy through yourself, not out of yourself.
Okay, but the skeptic in me has to ask, is this just a nice visualization, a psychological trick to make me feel better? Or is something real happening?
And the source anticipates that. It introduces this concept of Citta-Drupa.
Citta-Drupa.
It translates to mind-produced matter. The argument is that consciousness actually creates matter, very subtle matter, but matter nonetheless. When you generate these thoughts of kindness, you are generating real Citta-Drupa.
So I'm not just thinking happy thoughts. I'm actually broadcasting a signal.
You are changing the actual electromagnetic field of your body. You're changing the subtle radiation you emit. You become a walking broadcast station for calm.
I just love the agency that gives you. Instead of walking into a room and being like, is this place okay? Is the vibe safe? You walk in and you are the vibe.
That is the ultimate takeaway. We think of ourselves as observers, but we are constant contributors. You are never not broadcasting.
Which brings us to the final idea from the text, which I thought was really beautiful, the spiritual bank.
It's a wonderful metaphor for legacy. Every time you practice forgiveness or use this technique or just choose patience over a temper tantrum, you're depositing a goodness unit into the atmosphere.
And every time we lose it, we're basically littering.
We're leaving energy trash for the next person. And the source frames it as a legacy issue. We worry about leaving a clean planet with plastics and carbon, which is vital. But are we leaving a clean psychic atmosphere?
Or are we leaving a world so covered in soot that it needs a disaster to clean it up?
Yeah.
that really hits home. It stops being about ghosts and starts being about, I don't know, cosmic citizenship.
Precisely. Your small moment of patience contributes to the stability of the whole system.
So here's the thought I want to leave everyone with. You're sitting somewhere right now, in your car, your kitchen, your office. You're emitting energy at this very second. If your emotions are physically painting the room you're in, what color are you painting it for the next person who walks in?
Are you leaving soot or are you leaving light?
Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you on the next one.